All right, what is going on, gamers? So this is gonna be a very, very different video for me, but Monster Hunter Rise. So I have been playing this game literally nonstop since its release, and I got it pre-ordered, and it is fantastic. Honestly, I don't know why they tried to release this game on Switch in the first place. This should have been a direct release to PC and console, and maybe do a port to Switch later. Now, let me just premise the start of this video by saying I love Nintendo. I think Nintendo is a great company, and I think they make fantastic games. Like, I feel like they have a very influential spot in the video game community. But this video is basically gonna just be like a review as to my personal thoughts on why this game is just taking a huge fat dump on the Switch version. So the first thing I wanted to go into was the online problems. Unfortunately, as cool as Switch is, unfortunately Nintendo Switch lacks the capability for a game of this caliber. Now, not only is Monster Hunter a graphic, like a pretty high graphic game, it also has a online presence. You know, you can link up with people from all around the world, and you can hunt. You can link up with friends, and you can hunt. And unfortunately, on Switch, not only is this a very lackluster but overall frustrating experience. Unfortunately, when I started playing on the Switch, because I also pre-ordered this game on Switch, when we finally got into a hunt and I finally got to the point of where I could play online with my brother and my other friends who were also excited, because we had been grinding Monster Hunter World, and now we were going to get to play Monster Hunter Rise. Unfortunately, when we got on together, a lot of our hunts were canceled because we either all couldn't load in together, or we would all get in, and then in the middle of the hunt, we would lose connection. And that's my in a game where we're going to be like the capability of playing with your friends online. When that's not working, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of making this game. Like I said, again, I love Nintendo. I think the Switch is an awesome creation for the gaming community. It's cool. It's gaming on the go. But unfortunately, with a game like Monster Hunter Rise, it's terrible. It's terrible for a game with such a heavy online presence. On top of everything, the graphics, the sound, all that. I just feel like when we played, our online presence was just ass, literally. Another thing that I had heard from some other friends was point number two: voice connection problems. Now, me as a gamer, when it comes to playing a game together, I automatically jump to Discord. Automatically. So me and my brother and my friends, we used Discord. But for those that used, I guess, the Nintendo Online's voice connection, it was literally just I feel like it was worse than how audio quality used to sound on Xbox Live back in the day. But I heard it was absolutely effing terrible, and they hated it. So that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up in this video. Not really too much of a big thing for me, because like I said, I automatically went to Discord. But since Nintendo Online does have a voice connect option, apparently on top of the online negativity and inability to connect and hold a secure connection for a game session, that plus the voice connect, just ass. Point number 3, visual issues. Now, again, I feel like I'm going to keep saying how much I love Nintendo. I love Nintendo, but for a game that has such a high, like, that's a little bit higher up on the graphical scale than I think what Nintendo is used to, this game just, I found when I was playing the handheld version, and even when I hooked it up to my TV and I played on the dock with my Pro controller, I still felt like my eyes, like I couldn't play it as long as I wanted to. My eyes started to hurt, like my eyes were straining. And it's because I think that with Switch, they don't have it. It's not like a console. See, like Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS5, PC, we all have gear installed into those things to give us the clearest and smoothest picture possible. Unfortunately, Switch is not there. Yes, it is technically a game console, but really the Switch is just a bigger, stronger Game Boy. And when it comes to visual prowess, unfortunately Switch is at the bottom of the barrel. Literally not, almost not even up on the board. I found myself blinking a lot. I got a really bad headache one time, and then eventually I was like, you know what? Even on my giant 50-inch Vizio 4K smart TV, this still is not clear enough for me. So eventually I stopped. I wouldn't play as much. So yeah, visual issues was a big thing, at least for me. I don't know. I had some other people tell me the exact same thing. Like, yeah, dude, like my eyes hurt. I'm straining. My brother said the same for him. Like it was just hard to look at. Like it was annoying. Like it was frustrating for him to look at. So another fourth point, controls. Now, this might just be controller smooth brain bias, and I'm perfectly okay with that being the case. But as from someone who came from playing Monster Hunter World, like through and through, including Iceborne, I played with either mouse and keyboard or a controller. Now, when playing with a controller, the movements of both my character doing all of the things that I needed for whatever style weapon I was using, just like navigating my quick items, you know, doing all of that and fighting a giant monster that is hell-bent on murdering you at the same time was a smooth and easy process. Unfortunately, the controls for Switch for Nintendo are not built for this. Both the handheld version and the Pro controller version. I found myself paying less attention to an attack that a monster was getting ready to unleash because I'm staring not at the screen, I'm staring at the buttons, and I'm spending too much time trying to formulate my brain so that I can turn Nintendo controls into the controls that I had on my Razer controller or on my Xbox controller or even on my PS4 controller, which is where I originally started playing Monster Hunter World. So that became too much of a thing. And I thought, okay, maybe the handheld is not great. Let me switch to my Pro controller. Still the same thing. And especially now, with Monster Hunter Rise's new mechanics added to the game, you have this thing called a wire bug. So wire bugs allow you to get around. But then you also, when your weapon is drawn, you have these things known as Silkbind combos. Basically allowing you, instead of like Monster Hunter World, you would either put your weapon away or roll closer to the monster so you could continue to dish out DPS. Now, Silkbind allows you to move either forward or up or do a special attack. And for controls, it is way easier to pull off these Silkbind movements and weapon combos on mouse and keyboard and on a Xbox or a Razer Microsoft controller. These mechanics are fluid and they're easy to remember. They're even easy to pull off on Switch, unfortunately. And again, I really want to premise this with saying this is my personal opinion. I could not remember which button to press to either go up with my Silkbind or go forward. There was many times I would be doing damage to a monster and I'm like, let me get closer. Like, let me get closer. And I could not remember what I was doing. And then, especially since they changed a lot of the controls, they didn't give you an adequate tutorial to let you know what had changed. So, my favorite, or one of my favorite weapons in Monster Hunter World was the giant katana. And there was a special spirit gauge combo that you could do that would literally have you stab the monster or like rush forward and stab the monster, and then you would jump into the air and bring your sword down on top of them. Now, if you did this with the spirit gauge completely full, oh man, Dado would be proud of the DPS that you just brought down upon this monster's head. Unfortunately, in Monster Hunter Rise, this is now that move now, which is known as Helmbreaker, is now tied into your Silkbind combo. But here's the effed up part about it. They don't tell you that like super strong combo is now part of the Silkbind thing. They don't really go too far into the tutorial of like teaching you. Honestly, I hate tutorials sometimes. But if you are going to give me a tutorial and then like give me some of the base mechanics of the game, then I can kind of like, yeah, those are kind of useful. They tell you about Silkbind combos, but honestly, I really think they should have delved into a weapon by weapon tutorial of what your Silkbug like combos are. Because in this game, in Monster Hunter Rise, now that it's on PC, I had to play with the katana to figure out that Helmbreaker is now my Silkbind up, or LY, left trigger and the Y button. That's my up combo. And then my B combo, my left trigger B combo, basically puts me into a defensive counter so that if a monster hits me, I unleash this ridiculous counter slice that can knock monsters off their feet. It's really, really effing awesome, but I did it on accident. I was in the middle of a fight and I accidentally pressed the wrong button, and then my character went into a stance holding her sword, and I was like, what is this? And then when the monster hit me, I unleashed this crazy critical damage strike slice, and I was like, oh, now I have Silkbind combos that are different. So each weapon is different, but unfortunately they don't tell you like what each weapon can do. So honestly, you have to go into the training area and test out which weapon Silkbind combo does what. Another example, the twin blades. They have their regular mode, and then you can hit the right trigger and you can go into demon mode, and you're basically using your stamina as a fuel for your damage, and it's awesome. You can do crazy amounts of damage. You move super fast. Like, it's very, very hard for monsters to hit you, and you even get a little bit buff on damage because some monsters will hit you and you won't even budge. Now, those Silkbind combos are completely different from the katana. So the vertical Silkbind combo, which makes basically allows you to go up, it's a dodge. So you basically throw your wire bug into the air and you shoot up into the air and you dodge if a monster's coming at you. But the cool benefit is that your weapon stays drawn. Your B combo, your left trigger B, you basically throw an explosive kunai on a rope into the monster. Then it will target that kunai. So if you do enough damage, eventually it will explode. But you kind of lasso the monster, because if the monster moves, you go with it. Like, you get pulled, but you don't get like pulled to where you get knocked out of a combo. It's basically like the monster cannot escape. And basically you just have to like people who play fighting games full time, you have to go into the lab and you have to talk about that. But for people who are excited to just jump into Monster Hunter because they've been playing Monster Hunter World for the past year or two, no one, honestly, we're gamers. We don't really read tutorials too well. We kind of just like, I've played this game before, I'm going to jump in there and do what's new. But without that, you kind of run into this lull, and then of course with the problems that I stated previously, it doesn't really make for a very fun experience of a game. So you're kind of like, why in the hell did I first of all pay 60 or more for this game, and then why am I still playing this game at this current juncture? And you hate it. Point number 5, handheld playability is cool, but not for a game such as Monster Hunter. Switch's biggest selling point to me was that now I can play some of the games that I would normally need an internet connection at home to play on the go. Now I can do that on the go. Unfortunately, Monster Hunter is not one of those games that you can really play on the go, like, especially if you're doing higher level ability or higher level ranked hunts. Sometimes you're gonna need some backup, and if you can't get to an internet connection, you're going to have a very, very unenjoyable time, and it sucks. So, it's cool that you can go, oh, well, yeah, I'll play here in the comfort of my own home while I'm sitting on the couch, or I'm sitting in a recliner, or if you're like me, you're sitting on the toilet sometimes, and you you just want. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna put this in a video. Yes, sometimes I play video games on the toilet while I'm dropping a deuce. Whatever. Moving on. Anyway, another thing that I heard too, which was kind of a negative on the scale, which was transferring from Monster Hunter World to Monster Hunter Rise. Now, a lot of my friends played Monster Hunter World, either on console or on PC. Then when they got to Monster Hunter Rise, it was only available on the Switch. And for new players, not only are you playing on a new thing, you have to learn the button combos. To me, that's not a real big negative, because with every single game, like if you were playing I don't know, whatever game you were playing, like if you're playing it on a new system, you're gonna have to learn what it is, what the buttons are on there. But a lot of people who were new to buying a Switch, or they bought a Switch just so they could play Smash Brothers and Monster Hunter Rise, they were very disappointed because the button mechanics are very confusing to new players. I don't know. It was a negative. I don't know if is it a beneficial negative? Does it make a lot of sense? I don't think so. But that's just what I've heard. I did a lot of research on this just to make sure that I wasn't spewing just a lot of, well, here's what I didn't like about Monster Hunter Rise, but that it was not just me saying like, oh man, graphical issues and visual issues suck for Monster Hunter Rise on Switch, and I'm the only one that's saying that. But I got other people's opinions on it, and they showed me those exact same things. So overall, now that Monster Hunter Rise has been re-released on PC and it is on Steam for probably $60, I think, or you could buy the deluxe edition because you get some cool outfits and stuff like that. I give this game a 10 out of 10. I think this game is awesome. I think this game is fantastic. It's fun. It's fun to play solo. It's fun to play with friends. But it's even better now because it's backed by a system that can, with enough power to make it look the way it is. It's a very smooth gameplay now. It's not so choppy, kind of like lag spikes in between. There was a couple monster hunts that we were doing when I was playing online, and we're pressing buttons and there's like lag and there's delay. I even went and bought another LAN cable and a LAN cable adapter for my Switch dock, and we still had terrible connectivity issues. But now that it's on PC, we're smooth sailing. We don't, so voice chat, we don't have to worry about that. But the graphical issues are completely gone. I can play this game for hours. My eyes don't hurt. I'm not confused on what buttons I'm pressing. And speaking of the buttons that I'm pressing, the game controls are even awesome on mouse and keyboard. If you're using mouse and keyboard or controller, the game is fantastic. But it's something about Nintendo's, I think, button alignment or the way that they do their button. It's just confusing, and it makes it more of a chore to play the game than to actually like have fun playing the game. So this was my first attempt at a video where instead of me like playing a game actively and like talking about something, I pre-recorded this footage and then I just sat here and I talked. So I was kind of going off of what Dado does on his channel sometimes. Like his most recent video, he talked about his favorite raids, and he just talked about some stuff. Like, to me, that is awesome, and that was the inspiration behind this video, and it was just something that I wanted to do. And I kind of, like I said, 2022 is, I'm trying new things. So I always wondered, like, instead of doing like a live review, why don't I just do some research behind some things that people didn't like and then put it out into a video. So I hope this didn't seem like me rambling. This was the first attempt at this video. I will try to have a little bit more structure to videos like this in the future. I even made a script, so the entire time that I've been talking to you guys, I've been staring at a Word document of some points that I got from people. And half of the stuff that I put on here, I was like, oh man, this is going to make an awesome video. And then I realized that if I was going with some of the stuff that I was originally going to say, I was going to be repeating myself, like basically beating a dead horse. So I decided, you know what, we're going to skip a lot of this stuff on the fly and we're going to go. So I covered, I guess, the main points of it. And I had a blast making this video, so I hope you guys have enjoyed. And please let me know in the comments if you would like to see more videos like this on top of everything else that I'm doing on the channel. Let me know if you would like to see me do a video like this live on Twitch, and I'll just basically cut that and turn that into a video, because it'll be a little bit more real, boom, on the spot. You know, as always, I am open to both constructive criticism and feedback. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I guess I'll throw this in here as well. Later on, I will be streaming today on my Twitch channel. The link, as always, is in the description of every single YouTube video. So if you want to come hang out with me there, I will be live later after this video goes live. And I might be playing some Monster Hunter. I might be playing some Destiny. Might be doing all sorts of stuff. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. If you have liked what you see, please hit me with a follow. And if you're new around here and you find yourself keep coming back, why not consider subscribing? It's, you know, it's subscribe. It's free. I want you to just punch the like button in the chest a couple times and, and follow your boy. But yes, that is it. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Love you. Bye.